Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
We are inside the Loft 100 studios in Southern California, and wherever you're watching and listening, we appreciate you being along for the ride of this edition of the Big Biz Show. And as we like to say around these here parts,
I forgot too. But this is not a thing.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I'm still talking.
It's not a thing.
The world is still listening to me.
It's not a thing.
That is the day trader Quattro, best in the business.
I'll give those guys. Give us some love over there.
My faves.
Costa, Mary, Godwin, and Sully.
Hey, I've got to say,
oh boy, what a weekend.
This is big news.
Huge news.
So, you know our friends, our friend Marty Stubbs, who's our real estate expert here?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, Sideline Sports, Mike is the
Offside Sports.
No, whatever it's called.
Yeah, close enough.
Oh, whatever.
Some show on national TV
Some show you produce here at the
it's on this
studio.
network.
You produce it.
That he's the producer and he is the star
Yes.
of the program. And we have an occasional member of the team.
We do.
His name is CJ Stubbs.
Yeah.
Now, Marty Stubbs, real estate, already has one son in the majors.
Yeah.
Okay. Garrett Stubbs, who's played for the majors for 5 years.
Phillies, right?
6 year, 4 years been in the World Series.
Yeah, pretty good.
Because
Pretty
of
good
the
ratio.
sneaky, horrible, that was Ozzy Osbourne, by the way, doing it.
R.I.P. Ozzy.
So because of the horrible business of baseball, and baseball is a horrible business, Garrett Stubbs got pulled down to AAA this year.
He did.
Because there was a backup catcher in AAA that if they didn't pull him up, they were going to lose him to free agency, which meant that they had no it would have been a real bad issue.
Sure.
And of course, Garrett can't get traded until next year because he was a free agent.
Right.
So that's the business side of baseball.
Yeah.
Garrett's playing AAA.
Okay.
His brother CJ Stubbs playing AAA for the Washington Senators, actually called the Nationals.
Washington Nationals
I would call
farm
the
team.
Senators because when we were kids, they were called the Senators.
Yeah.
CJ Stubbs just pulled up to the majors this week?
Yes.
Garrett Stubbs just pulled back up to the majors this week.
Yes.
She has not one but 2 boys in Major League Baseball.
That is so, what a proud mom.
Is that crazy?
Oh, wow.
Well, and the
They both have been in studio before, too.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I think if you go to Big Biz Show, I think the thumbnail.
there's
Stubbs.
Garrett
Stubbs'
Booted
face.
him off.
CJ is one of the co-hosts of Offside Sports, and it's funny.
He was.
He
Say, not anymore.
He was.
Since we launched, he's never been on the show, but he's in the opening credits when we explain.
Well, because he's done a million pilots with you, and
Yes.
and because look, he was in the minors for 7 years.
toiled.
He thought baseball passed him by. Here you have Garrett Stubbs, great athlete, okay?
Yep.
His brother looks like Superman, great athlete. Yeah. And it's just interesting how the business of baseball is just weird.
He didn't give up, and he just kept going at it.
That's right.
And guess what? He now is in the majors.
What position does he play?
Both are catchers.
Both
They
catchers.
both are catchers.
Do you know the interesting
Oh.
part? So on the business side here, do you realize that he says the second the game started, so he started for the first time
Yes.
yesterday.
Whoa.
Okay. It's not just enough, it's just for the Washington Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just enough to be in the dugout, but the minute he took the first pitch yesterday,
Boom.
free health care for life.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's the good side of it. Is now he's baseball, and if I'm not mistaken, Garrett, if he completes this season in the majors, will have the pension now.
Pension will kick in.
After
Full 9 yards.
Is
I believe it's 7.
7 years, and the pension is half the salary of it's like $500,000 a year or something like that.
It's stupid good is what it is.
You said baseball is a horrible business.
It is.
Which way do you mean that?
For a player.
For a player.
Oh, because they can get traded so often and get
That part of it, and then, or sometimes. I mean, Garrett is playing behind the number one catcher in baseball. I would argue, CJ Realmuto. Mm-hmm. Right. Garrett's the backup player. If you're the backup catcher, the best catcher, it means another team wants you. He's not going anywhere because the Phillies know that he's been called the best backup catcher in baseball. I mean, he could start for any other team.
And he's got guys like Bryce Harper and Schwarber and that whole Phillies team that's going, if you get rid of Garrett Stubbs, you're going to have a revolt on your hands.
They're still making good money. I mean, right.
Yeah, but can you imagine being in Major League Baseball and then I'm going to show you I'll show you later in the program a photo that was sent to me that Garrett's manager said, "You're going back up to the show," on a baseball he wrote and put in his locker. That's how he found out about it.
I love it.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show rolls on. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. Always appreciate you being along for the ride. That's a Day Trader Quattro. We get to sit here and listen to him every single episode of the Big Biz. Back here at the bar, it is customary for Godwin and Sully.
Hey, Howie Font's here from New York City, talking to us about September. So my thought is, if September is the worst month for stocks, then you would have to come up with an idea of why people are selling more. Because once again, as we like to say in this program and in real life, is the only reason the stock goes down is more selling than buying. So here's the only reason stock. Now there's a million reasons that you would buy or sell, but there's only one way that the cause is more selling. So Howie, what's your case for and against on this?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think that's a really good point. You can be, if your only thought is up or down and it goes up, then you think you're right for some reason. That's not a good system of thinking. You need to apply magnitude, and I think it's going to go up 5% because X, Y, and Z. So first of all, having a thesis and then getting that trued out will help you think better, especially if you're looking at the markets all the time. So that being said, I'll do the pro case for the September. As we talked about, people are more focused. They're back from Labor Day. You have the actual managing directors in there looking at work for maybe the first time in a month or so. That is a real thing that happens at IBs. And then you see, there's economic factors. You're not spending as much if you're a retail consumer.
Christmas,
summer's over.
Black Friday started.
Well, I was going to ask you, how much of this is people focused on? And Sully said it a while ago. The fact that boom, Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Christmas, Hanukkah, all the holidays are right around the corner as well.
Yeah, I mean, so you're in between summer where you had a little vacation, you spent some money with the family, maybe a Disney World or something like that. Yep. And then Christmas starts on October 31st, I believe. So that's spending.
Well, Black Friday used to be. Black Friday starts in February.
Yeah.
These days. Howie, there's also a lot of historic decisions and data from the Fed Reserve this month.
That's
correct?
another good point. Yep.
Right.
So you have September is a Fed interest rate decision month. So we're expecting a rate cut. That'll be probably good for the market. So this year it's not going to be for the bull case, but having a meaningful amount of data that the Fed is watching, the employment data comes out in September, and the interest policy change happens in September. That's very important. So you have factors like that, and then you have people looking at their portfolios for the year saying, hey, let's rebalance. Big index funds, they have to do their rebalancing every quarter or every or biannually. And that's happening now. So that's kind of some market forces reasons why September might be.
What's interesting is the worst days in the market have happened, the worst single days have always happened in October.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And October's been actually historically a pretty good month. And it's, there's a lot of market platitudes. Buying the rumor, selling the news, right? Is one of them. I think what's interesting here is, you've got a rebalancing effect happening in September that sometimes isn't realized by the retail markets until the following month. Because remember, institutions really drive the markets, not retail. When I say retail, I'm talking individual investors buying, $1,000 less than, let's say, $10,000 worth of stock. But those rebalancing things that we kind of glossed over a little bit, that's a big deal, Howie, when rebalancing portfolios, because we're going into, we only got 3 weeks to the fourth quarter. Can you believe that? That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really really big deal. People should watch it. Hedge funds try to front run it all the time and see if they can make a little blip. I think there's, Interactive Brokers is going to go in the S&P 500, so that is going to
Interactive Brokers, talk about who that is, Howie, for people who don't understand.
Yeah, Interactive Brokers is just a trading platform, a trading firm. I mean, there are a lot.
It's like a TD Ameritrade. It's like
the
old E-Trade.
Their kind that's in the S&P, but it is meaningful. So one stock gets kicked out, I forget who, Interactive Brokers is going in. That rebalancing happens on a certain date at a certain time, especially if they're passive funds. Those have happened in October. But more active funds and big institutional investors are starting that process now. So that's the force that we're talking about.
What's interesting is Interactive Brokers reminds me of DraftKings in terms of when they first started. I was dealing with Interactive Brokers back in 2013 as a little fledgling e-only trading platform that you couldn't really talk to many people there. Everything had to be done online, and it's really become a juggernaut in terms of how trades are done and such. I remember there was a back office person there because I held some stock there, and the stock was held in what's called book form. In other words, actually it was held in cert form. I actually had a stock certificate, and it was held in safekeeping because it was restricted stock. During the time,
made of stone, and they used a chisel to put your name.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. The stock was worth X when I put it in there as a cert, but the stock had lost some value. Okay, there was a back office person, and this is how young this company was. The back office person, I'll tell you because he's worked at investment banks. Back office people are pretty sharp on how the trading markets work. Back then, they were just trying to get people in there. The person thought that I owed them money because my restricted stock that I couldn't trade went down in value.
Oh my God.
And took it all the way to I'm gonna have our legal counsel because you owe us. Legal counsel said, Mr. Sullivan, sorry, we'd like to offer you free trading for the next 6 months. But that was it was a fledgling small. But what's interesting is the platform, which sort of was like Bitly for digital currency, has really taken over as I think that almost every broker is going to turn into an interactive broker. It's really E-Trade 2.0, don't you think, Howie?
Yeah, they certainly will want an all digital platform. So the difference here in this market is you either have a traditional stockbroker. This is a guy you call, a guy you know, a guy you talk to. He handles everything for you. A lot of stuff is done on the phone, and he's executing trades. Whereas people want things in the app form now. They want things in digital form now. So it is hard to get someone on the phone at an interactive broker or an E-Trade or something like that. So that's the downside. You don't get a human touch or someone walking you through more complex things like, pulling the tablet that Sully used to book.
The chisel.
Yeah. Howie, the great scene from the movie Trading Places when Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy go to the floor of the stock exchange, and it's just total chaos.
It was a short squeeze. Yeah. You were witnessing a short squeeze.
Orange juice futures. You think we'll ever get to the point though where we will not have that chaos literally physically on the floor of the stock exchange?
No, we don't have that anymore. Yeah,
okay.
It's not like that. I mean, those are coveted spaces. I think people still have large desks there, but it's kind of moved away. I mean,
it's just not necessary with the.
No one's going to pay a premium for that space anymore, and we don't execute in that way. It's all done by algorithms and computers.
Yeah, we're not. There isn't somebody calling in an order down to the floor who's actually bid and asking.
That floor was them negotiating. I mean, and now that all is turned into a computer process. It took too long, in my opinion.
And those were market makers on the floor there that were taking this. If the stock was trading by 2 by 220, they were taking the spread And that's why when you buy a stock and sell a stock, there's a little gap in between there. Howie, I think the moral of the story here is that you can't ignore market dynamics. You can't ignore monetary policy influence. You can't ignore the 50,000 foot view just because of September, right?
Yeah, one of the reasons we're talking about this is I want to start making a point of there's so many indicators, don't buy stocks on Thursday nights. I don't know.
The Santa Claus rally.
The Santa Claus rally, yeah. And some are good, some are bad, none are perfect. And this is a big one. The September is the worst month in the market of the year. And I want to go through some of these indicators as we have.
Yeah, I want you to poo-poo the, because I think what it comes down to is me and Howie take a dart, we throw it at the Wall Street Journal. Probably more accurate than some of these indicators, right, Howie?
Big Biz Show market analyst Howie Font. Howie, is always appreciated. All right, you out there in TV and radio land, don't go anywhere. Much more to come with the show. Show rolls on live from the Loft 100 studios here, sunny Southern California. Day trader Quattro on stage back here at the bar. Costa, Maribor Godwin, and Sully.
That's right. We are brought to you by Prudential. Prudential is your rock for retirement. Also, bigger advance, better science, better results. Starbucks coffee. I'm hopped up on some right now. Lumen Brands, their fine family of restaurants. Carrabba's Italian Grill, Bonefish Grill, and Outback Steakhouse, and of course Taylor Guitars. Who's got coming up next there, buddy?
Les Borsai, co-founder of Wave Digital Assets. Their website is wavegp.com. Les, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, let's talk about the misnomer that September's the worst month for stocks. I mean, it is somewhat, but I think you don't want to ignore market dynamics. You don't want to ignore monetary policy during the month of September. And boy, there is the Senate Banking Committee has got a lot of new market rules they want to change. Talk about that. Bring us front and center to the folks that aren't really following this every day.
Well, I mean, I think it started in January with this new administration. Obviously, they hit the ground running. They want to make America the crypto capital of the world. So, the first thing they did was an executive order. Then they followed up with a digital report, obviously passing of the Genius Act and Clarity and the anti-CBDC bill. And they're, making banking much easier for all the companies that got unbanked. And they're, moving forward to make the SEC, not be these guys that just enforce everything they can enforce and move innovation off this country. And I just said a lot of stuff in
no, I didn't say a lot of
a lot of stuff in about 5 minutes.
Well, listen, go ahead. What's interesting here, you should bring up crypto. I've argued that we are already in a digital currency because you've got the same $40 in your wallet like we do for the last 6 months. Unless you're tipping somebody, all of our money is is a number on a screen somewhere, and I think that's important to deal with. I think what's interesting is being the crypto capital of the world. In and of itself, having crypto means that there isn't a crypto capital of the world. It means that everybody's using the same currency. There is no fiat currency, and basically it's fraud proof if we're talking about using the infrastructure, otherwise known as blockchain. So what I want to know though is one of the biggest issues with this digital currency, and let's just call it, let's say Bitcoin, for example. You know and I know that when I think of Bitcoin, I'm thinking of it as an investment, not as a commerce tool. And that's the difference. When we want to say, give me a potato, I'm going to give you a Bitcoin, right? That's when it turns into a commerce tool. In the meantime, it's a commodity to me. It's like gold. It's like any other asset because it's used, in my opinion. Now, I realize there's people that accept Bitcoin. And our guest, Elon Goren, who Goren Holmes is a venture firm that actually invests with it and invests in companies that are surrounding it. How do we get to that point where adoption is currency? Because I think that's when we could actually take a bite out of it. Don't you think that's where the teeth come in? Don't you think, Les?
Well, I'm going to step back. You now said a lot of things. Alon used to work for us, so he's a great guy. So we know him well. The thing about it is you think about like the emergence of Bitcoin. It came right after the subprime meltdown.
Yeah.
And really, what it was about was trust and not
exactly
having
right. You're exactly right.
Central institutions. But what's emerged since then is a lot of alternative tokens. You have tens of thousands of tokens that have different functionality. They have different underlying kind of approaches. So not all are commodities, not all are securities. And I think that's one of the big battles that the Senate Banking Committee is trying to figure out right now. Is the CFTC going to be the ones that govern this, or is it going to be the SEC? What's really interesting about digital currencies, even if you look at all the seizures that the federal government has and the states have, they don't know what they're seizing until they seize it. So you just have a vast array of different types of currencies out there. And you're right, Bitcoin is a commodity. It's a store of value. It's gold. But Ethereum isn't.
But let me ask you this. Don't you think the real paradigm shift is when we start, as the adoption rate comes in with Johnny Lunch Bucket and Cindy CEO is using it as currency? I mean, isn't that when the real change happens?
I think the change has happened, and we just don't realize it. If you take a look at Tether and you take a look at Circle,
but we're not though. That's my point. Is average Joe Sixpack? We're not taking a look at Tether. You guys like you and Lon are. But I'm saying when the masses are is what I'm talking about.
Well, so here's the answer to that. I mean, you see BlackRock, you see Citi, you see, Blackstone, you see the institutionals, start to deal with this, with all the ETFs that they're launching. Yeah. And that's how everyday Americans start to look at this. And when the debt market opens up, which is a $140 trillion market, and we see the integration of digital currencies into those debt instruments, then you're going to really see it open up. And the other caveat to that is it's global. I mean, it's always been global.
Right.
It's day one. So that's why by
the audacity of the U.S. government thinking there's going to be the country of crypto when it really is a global panacea, correct?
Yeah, I mean, and that's really the big part about it is, while the SEC here was doing all the enforcement they were doing, look, it was thriving in UAE and Asia.
Let me on that subject real quick. Not to interrupt you, I have to ask you though: isn't regulation needed in terms of adoption? I mean, because I think isn't that really as much as we hate that regulation part of it and too much oversight, for us to trust it, we have to have it, correct?
We always wanted it. We were a registered investment advisor from day one in 2018, and we did the best we could to follow regulatory policy. First with California, then the SEC when we had enough AUM. So we always wanted regulation. It's the only way for it to adopt and to scale to what it is going to be. So yes, I agree with you 1,000% on that. There's just so much happening at once, so kind of catching your breath at this point where the acceleration of all of this out of Washington has literally impacted everything, including the way states are legislating. You take a look at New Hampshire and Arizona, the first states to have laws that say they can buy Bitcoin. So it's a really strange and exciting time.
Les Borsai is the co-founder of Wave Digital Assets. Their website is wavegp.com. Les, I'm throwing everything I own at the New World Liberty token, which is launching this week. Is that sound investment action on my part?
I mean, I'll throw the question back at you. I mean, I'll throw all my money at every stock I've never done any research on. Is that a sound investment?
well played, Les. Well played. Les, we want to have you on more and more. And next time you're in San Diego, you're more than welcome. This fantastic stuff. His name,
Les Borsai, co-founder of Wave Digital Assets. Website is wavegp, P as in Peter.com. All right, don't go anywhere. Plenty more to come on this here program. Back after this.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show rolls on. We're inside the Loft 100 studio. In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea. As always, we say a special thank you to the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces for what they do, what they've done for us. That's the day trader Quattro back here at the bar. It's Costa, Mary Godwin, and of course, Sully. Very good. Day trader trio, day trader Quattro with Mike Patterson.
Break out into song on that,
No, not doing
that
it.
one.
No.
It's a good song, guys.
I'm so excited because Dan Negroni is here. Dan Negroni, of course, is a CEO coach, a consultant, a very close friend. He's the chief launch officer of Launchbox 360, but more importantly, he is now a college professor. And Dan, most important,
He's
as
a
a
grandpa
grandfather.
Dan.
The most handsome grandfather. Grandfathers didn't look like that back when we were kids.
No.
Okay, let me just tell you what. Grandpas didn't look like that. We talked to Dan a while ago about team growth, team assessment using Marley. And the three of us, well, actually the four of us.
You didn't put me on, but we all have it. I have that information. I could pull
Marley
it.
is AI driven.
Marley is an AI driven what?
Performance operating system.
So we all took independent tests together. And Mary thought, I want to retake it because you guys beat me. It
I was
wasn't
like,
a competition.
I think I got a bad score.
It wasn't a competition.
The best score. Okay, I just want to say it's not a test, it's an assessment to see how you're motivated at work. That's it. Okay. Just how you are motivated at work.
The test?
I'm like, what's going to look best on camera?
Are any of us similar? And are you and I similar?
Yes.
I thought so.
In lots of areas we're similar. I wanted to do you guys.
Yeah, no, I was just curious.
So,
all right.
Yes, you and I are similar in a lot of ways, but not in a lot of ways actually too. And that's the really coolest thing about motivations. It's what you get out of work.
Okay, so on the big screen now, we're seeing there.
Those are Sully's. Actually, you can see you have.
So you're holding the guitar.
You
have what that is?
Yeah.
Your icon?
In the picture.
Okay.
He's the only one who put in a picture. You're both M with different colors.
Oh, I didn't put a picture in? See, I already failed.
Here's what happens. You go in, no failing.
Okay.
You take. There are 16 categories. You can see them across the top. Action level, action direction, which what we're going to talk about, all the way through convincer input. We'll talk about that as well. But those are Sully's, and those are what he's highest on, 95 and 91%. And interesting, they're in the same category of action direction.
What is action direction?
Okay, well, so you ask. What action direction is your likelihood to want to reach goals and how you feel motivated about goals, and more importantly, how you see problems when you're getting there. Mm-hmm. And so you are interestingly high at both. You have a really high goal, like one of the highest, 95%, right? And a 91% focus on seeing problems to get to the goals.
That is you.
Well, because she always says I'm two steps ahead.
Right.
Avoiding, I think in terms of avoiding the speed bump before I even get to the speed bump. But I'm not countering objections before they happen, but I just think 2 steps ahead because I think it's more efficient.
Which is, so you asked about you and I. I'm very different. I'm very goal focused, but I only deal with problems when I get to them. And then I crush them. I don't actually like problems, and probably because I'm a coach, I'm always reframing everything for everyone. So at work, I have to be positive, I have to find a solution. I am not necessarily looking for problems to get somewhere. I'm looking for solutions.
I'm looking for pain avoidance. I'm avoiding pain before it happens, I think.
So super interesting. So you all have these, and when we have more time, I can go through all of yours individually with you. So action direction is that bucket where goals and problems
Which
meet.
M am I?
Okay, so now we have, wait, hold on. For folks listening to us only, not seeing us, for Armed Forces Network, we're now showing the 3 of us together in terms of the greatest similarities and greatest differences, which is really...
And we can show all 48, like if that's a screenshot, but I can scroll down here and look at all of yours right now. And
we bifurcate or trifurcate.
Okay, so let's talk. I picked, so greatest similarities. What I picked was actually information. You're all very high on it. Both Sully and Mike are 79%.
Of what now?
This is information, which means that you actually...
Does that mean we want the data points? Is that...
Yes.
Okay.
You want the data points. This is called your interest filter category, and it's what you enjoy engaging with. And so you all enjoy engaging with data and information, which is interesting. These are your jobs, right? If you really want someone to drive home the stats and statistics, who are you calling in this team? Do you know? You can look up there, but you can't guess?
Sully and
him.
It's actually you.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
With a 93%. Well, yes, she's like, I won. I won.
Repeat that, because I think we lost that. So say once again.
Oh, this one on the third one down.
Interest filters are what truly drives you at work, your motivations. What truly drives you is being able to understand the facts. It's not that they're bad at it. They're just a little bit less. They're 79%, which is still pretty high if you think about, right? And you can see right there, in the bottom, it's actually not showing on the screen, but this is based against the average range of the USA population, and we could do it pretty much anywhere in the world. Or if you're a company at one of your stores or locations, you can do it on that average. So this is based on the average. So look how cool that is.
Back to the question you said, because this is a good point that just happened in real life, real time. But you said, if people want information, they're going to come to me?
Yes.
Okay. So this is interesting because the other day I was wanting to gather information because
Everybody
am the
always goes
person
to you.
comes to me for information.
Everybody goes to
whether
you.
it's band or crew or whoever.
Well, but because
if they need to know an answer, but I want the information.
You're naturally a den mother. I mean, you are the herder of people.
Yeah. So it's the level of information and facts and data that you want, and you want the most because probably you're chief mama bear. You want to protect everyone, and you need to make sure that you get it
Is that
right.
an official title?
Dan, what
Den mother, mama bear.
What does compliance mean on here? So, Grace, what does compliance refer to here? We're all very similar in compliance, it looks like.
Yeah, compliance is my. I'm trying to get the definition as they say it. Your motivation levels for following the rules, values, and customs of the company.
All right.
And so look where you guys are all
halfway there.
Well,
No, we're right in the middle of the population.
I see what you're saying.
You're right in the middle of the population, but I would also say you have to roll with things.
Yeah.
This is live television.
Totally.
You have to figure it out as you go, and sometimes you have to make. Well, I'm going to say that. Make things up to make sure that everything works.
By the way,
well.
the light blue is Mary, the dark blue, the light blue M is Mary, the dark blue M is Mike.
Yeah, the purple. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about consistency. What does that mean?
Consistency is.
This is really interesting. And once again, we're looking at Marley, which is an app that is used for
performance
testing.
operating system. So imagine what you can unlock if you're managing someone.
Sure.
Or if you are trying to communicate with someone and there's a difference of, I have that in my world as well, there's a difference or a challenge in communication, you can actually look at the insights, and young people can go on, you can click a button and it'll just generate a written insight. We don't have that live, but I could do that for you.
Real quick, the reason Dan's doing this, if you're just joining the show, Dan is really a performance executive in terms of CEO coaching and as well as workforce coaching. And it all started because of the book Chasing Relevance that we were talking about millennials taking over the world.
Yeah.
Now it's Gen X, Gen Y,
Gen Z,
and
Gen Z. Yeah.
Now, and there's this confluence of Gen Z workers and now millennial management. that has to come together, as well as old school, old guy management has to come together.
I think you're super right, and the fact is, how do we all get along and how do we figure out how to collaborate and connect when we're so differently? And we know the generations are different, and so how do we figure it out? And how do we do it at scale? Because not everyone can afford a $1,000 an hour coach. They have to actually, but this does it at scale. So any Gen Z can look up all this stuff about their boss, about their teammates.
But this is a picture of efficiency for me in terms of saying, okay, I'm not going to chase a rabbit looking for information over here or over here.
Yeah.
I mean, if
exactly.
Honestly, I mean,
or go to the source.
Cemented. Is that a dirty look I'm getting?
No, it's.
Are you side on
superiority?
Are you
side on? It was a little bit that I was right. No, I was just thinking about how, because sometimes you'll say, that you don't need that information, but I'm like, I do need it because of.
No, I don't say you don't need information. I say stay in your lane.
That's.
All right, we will.
He's like,
hey, did you order the paper towels? I'm pretty sure that's not true.
We will continue with Dan Negroni, and we will get to the root of the problem. Why Big Biz Show rolls on. From the Los 100 studios here in sunny Southern California, that is the day trader Quattro. Back at the bar, it is Costa, it is Marybird Godwin, it is Sully, and we are joined by our great friend Dan Negroni.
And we are brought to you by Prudential. Let Prudential be your rock for retirement. Also brought to you by Bayer Advanced, better science, better results. Mike, it goes on your lawn, so don't take it. Starbucks coffee, and of course, Lumen Brands, our fine family restaurant, and Taylor Guitars, and of course, now Marley. We gotta go hit them up for sponsorship, no? We should have the Marley people on the air with us at some point if you want.
We can't. They're in Australia, so it is now in Sydney, 4:19 a.m.
Yeah, we have to modify the show. So let's bring up that graphic again. If you're just joining us here, we're using Marley, which is a performance optimization system that Dan relies on in his coaching for CEOs and employees. And we've seen activity, compliance, information, consistency. What is
consistency? You had asked before the break. It's the level of importance for you to consistently check your conclusions and decisions.
Yeah.
And look, you guys are actually, in greatest similarities. That's where you are. Interesting, Sully. Look how rule and disciplined, and with the goals as well, very structured in the behavior and the motivations to want to do something, and you guys are kind of more by the middle and average. Let's talk about, can we talk about differences?
Yes, please.
By the way, I want to be very clear for if you're listening to this on the radio on American Forces Network Cross Country, when Dan's about to say effective communication, it's not effective communication, it's affective communication. Right. I mean, how does communication affect the person that you're encoding and decoding from?
Yeah, well, certainly I was going to talk about convincer inputs, and what convincer inputs, so, right, there's 16 categories, and doing is in convincer inputs. So is hearing and seeing and reading, okay? Those are all the convincer inputs, which are how individuals gather information, what convinces them. So you can see there on doing, Sully, it's very interesting. While you really want information and facts, as we saw before in the last segment, you really don't have to do it to believe it. You have to actually read it or see it in writing and understand. Well, look.
This is called don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. No, truly. I mean, you guys have heard me say it.
Explain that a little bit more.
So you guys, you really want to, with a fourth percentile, Sully doesn't have to experience himself. He can just read it or discuss it. You guys with 67% and 77% need to do or have a personal experience that feels right before you can be convinced.
Wait, am I the purple or the blue?
You're light blue.
You're light blue.
Oh, she's
all this time we thought we were.
I know. So
all this time,
Mary is, Mary is light blue.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I? So it's interesting for you when you say that, because I conduct so much due diligence before. I don't feel like, and I do third party to where it's credible. I'm not going to the University of Google. Right. That's why I feel with myself effectively. And again, for me, it's about, because of my crazy schedule, and everybody's got a crazy schedule, but for me, it's about efficiency. I mean, if there's any one thing that drives my life, it's efficiency.
Well, and that's what
or at least my perception of efficiency.
100%. So this is Marley. You are motivated by efficiency.
Yeah.
It's how you run your life, and you can see. And so efficiency
Which is why I don't
is not
need to take
going
the
out
time.
and doing something.
Right, I don't even take the time to do it.
Delegates it.
But I'm convinced.
Which is why you guys got to do it.
Which is why we're not. It's like Bill Burr isn't impressed by Steve Jobs. He goes, "Hey, go give me a music thing, and I'll come back in 3 weeks. It should be there."
Yeah.
Because I'm not impressed. I think Mary and I have been together in terms of work relationships for 8 years, 7 years now. And she's and she is my closest sort of contact in terms of several actions of the business. And we're experiencing this, which is really interesting because this is validating.
Because we're very similar in a lot of ways.
But this is validating
we're
here, isn't it?
absolutely opposite.
This validates what we experienced, Dan.
Yeah.
Like what you're seeing here.
Yeah, so why don't we look at difference?
Let's look at the problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Level of energy for radical change and things that are new and unique.
What is that?
Okay.
Is that alternatives?
No, that is difference.
Difference.
So
Okay,
look at
difference.
Okay. So look where Mary is. Look where your level for change is. Right?
I don't like change.
Okay, wait. Say that again.
Look,
Define that
I'll
again.
read it again. And so all these definitions are in there. You can get all the information in Marley, getmarley.com. The difference is the level of energy for radical change and things that are new, different, and unique. Sully's smack in the middle with the average population. Look where Mary is. And this guy's like me. Yeah. He's like,
bring it on.
Go, yes.
Let's
bring
go.
it on. Let's go.
So you're dyed to the wool. Do you not like
because I do like change and challenges, but maybe I don't. I also want stability and comfort, and I want to know what's happening.
There's probably another motivation that you like to think broadly or experience new things.
Yes. But this one is.
Yeah, this one is particularly for radical change and things that are new and different.
Like, I want things to happen as they're supposed to happen.
So when a new boss,
they're supposed to happen.
When a new boss comes in, Mary's the first to get fired, right?
She's like, that's what we've always done it this way.
Let's give her power, or the first to quit.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I'm out of here.
Come on.
If you're the CEO of a new company, if you come in, the first thing you do is you go talk to your best clients.
Yep.
Then you come back and trim the fat. No, that's the second thing you do.
Let's also talk about you for a second, Mike. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
But we were talking about problems and seeing problems. You are just like me. You are in the 18th percentile of wanting to see problems. You'll deal with them when you we're actually very similar, Mike.
Exactly. No, you're not. Because you're no, you're not. Because Mike, no, I'll tell you why. Because you, Dan, are an effective communicator, an effective leader, an effective. You need to be a great CEO and are a great CEO. Mike's like.
Okay, Sully. So that's a really.
That's the difference.
Okay, so that's a really interesting point in using the motivations in a performance operating system. Is you can figure out who is your top salesperson, and even though you know these little things, what you think is making the difference is not making the difference.
Right.
So if you want to hire with 90% reliability to figure out who is the top salesperson, you got to go deep and really understand all 48. And we are skimming the surface here.
We make not new hires, but at interviews.
Yes.
Come take this assessment.
Yes. And you would 90% reliability figure out whether someone will fit in the culture.
Oh, that's pretty
90% reliability.
I wonder if we post-mortem have everyone take this if we would have hired anybody.
Sully, interesting question because that's right. There's 16 billion points of data in here.
Yeah.
And all the data is from the past. Yeah, from past history over all the people that have taken.
This is like a food sensitivity test. This is like a food allergy test.
Yeah.
Right? This employee allergy test.
It's employee allergy test. Okay, I got that. So it's a really rich system, and you can go into. We don't have it live, but you can ask it questions. If you were going to say, Mary, if Sully and I were going to have a conflict, what should I do? And it'll spit out exactly.
Dan, this has been really. I think we should do a deep dive in this. So maybe do some more people, like maybe the band members. I would love this. I mean, I think just because it's a different sort of set of they're not sitting at a desk. It's a band. It's similar but different.
Anyone can use the system for free. It's a free product as an individual and see your assessments. It's the comparison and all the information that you pay. Right, you unlock to pay.
Wow.
For. Yeah.
Dude, that was fantastic. As once again,
really great stuff. Dan Negroni, speaker, CEO, coach, consultant, chief launch officer, professor, brand new Dan Grandpa, and telling us more about ourselves than we thought we knew.
Marley needs to hire Dan as an endorsement.
Yeah, big time.
We're gonna run.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Big Biz Show. As always, thank you for being along for the ride. We'll see you next time.